Good evening. We are here. This is FYI After Dark. I'm your host, Yolanda Hinton, and I'm here with my co host, Edward Everett, aka Mr. E.
And a pleasant good afternoon to you. And thank y'all so very much for tuning in to the most talked about show in the whole wide world. That's FYI After Dark. Where no holes are barred, no holes are barred. In other words, no information are withheld, and you can go all the way live right here on FYI After Dark with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton.
All right, and we want to welcome our platforms. We have YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, we have FYI on Facebook Live, and Twitter. We're here on Twitter Live. I hope you all are here. Let us know that you are. Uh, Say something in our chat. Say good evening or hello or something. Just let us acknowledge you. We'll shout you out. And if there are any questions for our guests, we're going to introduce him in a minute. But if you have any questions, comment, you want to add to the discussion, feel free to join in through our chat. I want to also mention our morning show, FYI Radio Morning Show, and it is on 95.3 Peace FM. We are also on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook Live. We're on WGPL 1350 AM, WPCE 1400, and the new station,
88.9.
WNBA 88.9. We're too pleased and happy to be on that platform. We're also on the World Wide Web. You can catch us there. And I tell you what, we're floating all over the world. Mr. E, it's so good to be on this evening. And we have a very special guest, a very special friend of ours. We love him. If you all have watched our show on In the Morning, you've seen the Honorable Senator Lionel Spruill. He is with us on FYI After Dark. And I want to say good evening, Senator.
Good evening. How are you doing today?
You know I'm doing good.
How that young man beside you doing? How you doing, Reverend?
I'm doing wonderful, Senator. How are you?
I'm doing fine, sir.
Good.
Tell you what, it's good to have you on. Everybody knows you, but we want you to introduce yourself, Senator. Just tell everybody where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Okay. I'm from a small city back in the day called South Norfolk. That was a city by itself, and South Norfolk merged with Norfolk County. In 1963, it became Chesapeake. And when it became Chesapeake with this, raising a family of 15 brothers and sisters, and we were in a, what you call, Robin, you're not used to this right here, we had an outhouse. We had a number 6 tub to take baths in, and we had a pot belly stove.
I know about that.
And so when I ran for city council the first time, coming up with that, went to George Washington Carver High School, attended Norfolk State. And growing up in there, we moved from Annex Street back in the city of South Norfolk when the South Norfolk Annex part of West Munich at that time was called Sheraton Heights.
Wow.
That was the first project the city ever have, and it's the only project because we talking about South Norfolk. And when I ran for city council, the press asked me, where do you live? I said, I live in a middle-class neighborhood called Broadlawn Project.
Yes.
They said, that's not a house. I said, when you had an outhouse, in the water, I say, when you can use the bathroom without going outside, the heat, that's middle-class to me. You see, so with that, but growing up, Reverend and Yolanda, growing up, we're having a speech problem, a Canadian hearing problem. It was the community. And we know back in the day when they say it took a community to raise me.
Yeah.
And with that, and the teachers and the school helped me. And so with that, they were able to help me to finish college. I attended Norfolk State, and I got a job with C&P Telephone Company.
Wow.
I remember that.
With that, now it's called Verizon now.
Yes.
I retired for them 30 years, but called Bell Atlantic.
Wow.
And so with that, with them, I was able to have all these operations on my nose and my ears, and that allowed me to talk as well as I do now. I do have hearing aids down in my ear, so I
Mm-hmm.
can hear, you see. And so I do have things that I can use to help me talk on. So with that, that was able to me to talk a little bit now, even though I do have a speech problem, but a hearing problem. But with that operation with the phone company, those operations, it helped me out some. But
Wow.
my biggest thing was I have always been involved in helping the community. You see,
Yes.
I got started. And so we started the first um, Civil League in West Money called West Money Civil League in 1977. And that started, Reverend, because back then on the old Landing Avenue, we had ditches for drainage. And when it would rain real hard, the water would overflow and go into people's garage, into their home.
Wow.
And we complained to City Hall. And one member, I used that race card about if in the white community you couldn't do that. And he
Mm-hmm.
said to me, this poor young man, come by my office. And I did. He said, over here in the white community you complaining about, guess what? It's about 1,300 votes over there. You live in West Monday, 300 votes. All them folks on the West Monday, 300 votes. He said, I love being on city council. What would you do if you were in my shoes?
Wow.
I thought about that thing. I said, oh, so what you're saying is that you don't get out and vote. You want something, get out and vote and come forth to the council. So we organized what you call the West Monday Civil League. And we got rid of two of those members off of city council. And with that, Mayor Ward and Willa Bazemore, they appointed me to the planning commission. And from there, helping communities, helping churches. From there, from the planning commission to the city council, helping folks, helping community, and helping everybody. And from
Absolutely.
there to the House of Delegates, 22 years in the House of Delegates. And when Mayor Kenneth Alexander, who represents part of Chesapeake and Norfolk, decided to run for the mayor of Norfolk, left it open, and I ran for the Senate seat. So I've been in the Senate now going on 8 years.
Wow.
So with that, but it all boils down to working with the community, doing for the community and not for myself.
Wow. Senator, take us back. Lionel, as a young boy, did you have your mind set on serving the community early on? Tell us when you first, felt that need to serve. What was it like growing up? Were you that type of person that would help
So
everybody? What
growing
was it
up,
like?
growing up, my sisters and brothers and my parents would say to me, tell me to do something. And I did not do it because I couldn't hear. You remember that Atlanta with 15 brothers and sisters and one that can't talk and one that couldn't hear. So they didn't realize that. And they would tell me to do something and I couldn't talk, Reverend. I couldn't hear. And so what I did was I had to say things that I shouldn't say to get attention from
Uh-huh.
folks, you see. So I can hear with that. But then when the community started helping me
Wow.
to say what I want. And then when in high school, they helped me buy clothes and shoes to finish high school. And I went to Norfolk State. And right then, that was the point I'm saying, I am where I am today because the community understood my problem, trying
Yeah.
to offset that. So it was my problem. And it was a nun in Norfolk State, a white nun at Norfolk State, who says to my mother, he sits in my classroom and look at my mouth because I couldn't hear, so I had to watch your mouth, but I can read your lips. And I would sit in front of the class and make sure, and on my right side, I can hear a little bit, so I make sure I turn my desk so I can hear you on the right side, you see. And she said to me, to my mother, all his brothers and sisters speak very well, but
Mhm.
he can't hear. And that's when they found out. They said, why couldn't you come to the doctor?
Mhm.
Well, in 1946,
Yeah.
Yolanda and Reverend, in 1946 in South Norfolk, you didn't have no black hospital in 1946.
Wow.
We had Norfolk Community, but that
That's
came
right.
on around 1951, 52, something like that. But I was born in 46. So
Mhm.
everybody in South Norfolk was born by a midwife, Nurse Warden. Spank your bottom, you cried, you was okay. I guess to spank my bottom, I cried. But guess what? They didn't realize until later on in life that I couldn't hear. You know,
Wow.
and the doctor says your nose and your ears have an effect on your speech.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I had. So what I had to do was use bees. I used bees to make sure that you can understand what I'm saying. That's a little bit.
Absolutely.
So growing up, so with the community helping me, then I played drums. Now I played drums and piano. Now I was a very
Wow.
good drummer, you see, and piano
Mhm.
too. I want you to know that. So I majored in music, by the way. Couldn't
Wow.
sing a bit. I had to get an A on the piano and an A on the percussion because I could barely get a C in singing. I couldn't sing. I could sing now in the bathtub, by the way. You see, so that was that. But then it started from there. The community help a poor kid.
Wow.
That was what it is. And so could you realize how it was that I'm saying to myself, boy, I wonder if I could talk like you, Yolanda, and talk like Ed. Hell, I'd be the governor right now. But I think I have done well. I think I have done
Yeah.
well. The way I mean,
Yeah.
what I have come up to do and what have you, I have done well. I'm sitting with the big boys, and now so I always say, give back. And when I was on the planning commission, I was the first black chairman of the planning commission of Chesapeake. And believe me, they've said all he wants to do is put a church anywhere. Every time a church came before the planning commission, I made sure it got approved. I put one on City Hall if they wanted. You see, so
Wow.
man, all the churches help me. Like right now, all the churches, some churches help me because I have always been a advocate for churches. City council the same way. I mean, church will cook French fries, uh,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff for me to get elected. All we talk about both black and white because they say, hey, this guy is help community. So
Wow.
with that, so that's what got me started because the way they helped me all my life.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm giving back to that way. Even right today, I do the same thing. Look at my committee. My committee is made up of 22 preachers, a lot of
Woo.
staff. You see, others
Yes.
staff folk, you see, because that's where it was. Ask the average pastor when they had problems in Chesapeake on the planning commission and city council, who helped them get the problems over? Wow, me. You see,
That's it.
working with the folks because they helped me when I came along in my life. So
Wow.
that's my story is that the folks help a poor kid from Broadline Project. And right today, when I say, Spruill, where do you come from? I always start off I come from Broadline Project. But look at me now.
I'm telling you, you have a great story. You know, when I met you, Senator, I didn't know you had any of those issues, problems, anything. I didn't have a clue. And then you began to tell your story, and I said, "What a wonderful story!" And it has made an impact, I'm sure, on so many. And I'm sure our children, look at you, listen to your story, and look at you now and say, "How in the world?" It had to be. It was the community, but what was it about Lionel that went through all the obstacles? Did you ever feel like you wanted to give up? Did you ever feel
Oh,
like, oh,
yes,
this is
yes.
rough?
In school,
Mhm.
the guy was saying to my girlfriend, you got a boyfriend, he can't talk and he can't hear. See, see, he can't even ask for a kiss. And
All right.
my girlfriend said he doesn't have to. Whatever he wants, he point to it. So
Yes.
I point to a kiss. That's what I did, Robin. And Robin, you'll be glad, Robin, because if I could have talked back then, Robin, I could be a preacher right today. Woo!
Ooh,
Lord from Zion. Oh, I've been a bad preacher. I've been saying,
Mr. Spruill, when we talk about Lionel, your past, your history, and I can remember what South Norfolk was all about because I stayed right across the track on Liberty Street, on the Berkeley side of Norfolk, just across right by the Overtons, and I went down to Ben Franklin and all those stores down there that
you remember that?
I remember all of that. My grandfather had a barber shop on Liberty Street, and my grandmother had a confectionery store on Liberty Street, and we stayed down the street from the Iceman and from the horseshoe shop. I
Mhm.
remember all of that. But when I hear your story and I hear what you had to endure, and I heard that you had some speech impediments and some hearing impairments, but I love it because now you are representing all mankind, regardless if they have a speech impediment, regardless if they have hearing or seeing. Why is it that you you decided that regardless of your impediment, that you have encouraged all young men and young women that has some type of dysfunction, some type of speech, or hearing, or seeing, or sight, or touch and smell. Why them?
Because I go all over the whole state. Okay.
Yes.
And I've heard so many kids who were saying that they were poor in the projects and they couldn't do this and couldn't do that. I said, let me tell you my story. They
Mhm.
come believe it. And see, and I'm talking about our folks now. And I try
Yeah.
to tell them what I've been through, how the kids used to tease me, you see. And when we had our 50th year class reunion, I was the speaker. They said, that can't be Sproul talking like that. You see,
I love it.
in no way. You see, but I did that, so it came from just watching other kids who were having problems. And they said, Mr. Sproul, can you talk to my kid? And I would sit down to the school and explain to them. And then the last one of this. You remember that on TV commercial, you see that little white kid that can hear it?
Yes, absolutely.
He's been trying since he was 4 years old
Wow.
every year to the General Assembly, and they've been turning him down because Senator DeSteph, that's his constituent, Virginia Beach, been bringing that kid in. He asked me to Sproul, will you co-patriot my bill? That kid would get up and read from the paper, turn her, read from the paper. So what happened was they would ask me, say, Sproul, where your bees at? When I speak, I have to use bees when I'm on the floor. I have to use bees. And everybody said myself, Sproul not Catholic. He belongs to that Methodist church. That's right, St. Joseph M.E. Zion Church. Yes, yes. They said, why he always using those bees? Because if I don't use those bees now, after all this operation, the doctor say, Sproul, use your nose. You can breathe now. Take your time. I couldn't say 5 words, but our test for me to say 5 words was Norfolk State, Virginia State, St. Paul, Virginia Union, and Hampton. See, I couldn't say those 5 words because I had to breathe, and talk at the same time.
Yes.
So and that's what I had to do. So this kid, so this year, and my family says, don't do it, Daddy, sister, because it's embarrassing to us. I said, no. What? So what I did was this. So what I did when the step brought that kid this year,
Wow.
and I got to the committee. It was his bill. And I told the committee, I say, you remember y'all questioned me about these bees I was holding my hand? Said, why does people talk those bees? Because the bees control how fast I talk.
Wow.
I looked at her eyes and saying, she doesn't understand me. So I use those bees control. So I was telling the committee, packed place, because they know this kid been trying for 4 years. And I've been using those beads, and I showed the beads to them. They said, well, we see it all the time, Sproul. And then, Robin, and what I did, then I went down and I pulled out my hearing aids.
Yes.
So that they couldn't believe that. And I said, now, say something to me. I can't hear what you got to say.
Wow.
They couldn't believe it. I said to myself, now, so you're going to turn this kid down because it was introduced by a Republican. It was his district. Don't blame the kid for that, you see. And I said, so look how well I'm doing pretty good now. I say, so you're talking, I can't hear what you got to say. So I had to put them back in my ears, beads back, and we got it passed for the first time. So that kid mother asked me that they want to do something to help me. That's why you see that kid on my thing, because that's a true story, you see.
Absolutely.
I don't feel embarrassed at all to share my story with the whole world, because then I was able finally to help get money from the General Assembly to help kids who could not hear. I was blessed. I was blessed because CMP Telephone Company, was able to have me these operations that I've had all my life, so I can do as well as I can now. But those kids didn't have that. It had to come from us, you see. And that's why that kid had those hearing aids and what have you. And he read. And I said to myself, it can't be right. So when I showed them the beads, everybody keep questioning, why is he using those beads when he talked? And then when I took my hearing aids out of her thing,
wow,
they couldn't believe it, Robert. They
amazing.
come back in. And so now it got it passed for everybody. So that's the key, is this. So if nothing else, I thank the Lord I have done one thing right, to help kids who couldn't hear, to get some money to have hearing aids put in their ears.
Well, you know, you've done that, but you've done a whole lot of other things. We're going to talk about your election in a minute because
All
that's
right.
coming up fast. But you have been instrumental in writing bills and been on many committees. Share some of that with us.
Hey, on the committees I'm on what's called local government.
Hmm.
Local government is just like being on city council. I'm subcommittee chair of charter changes in the government. I'm also called commerce and labor. That deal with the gas companies, the banks, stuff like that. I'm chairman, subcommittee chair of the energy.
Hmm.
I'm on transportation committee. That's important. Rehab deal with the drugs and stuff like that, and the wine and the bill, stuff like that. You see,
Yes.
I'm on that committee. I'm on rules committee. You see,
Mhm.
now so these things are important, but it's so the key about this. But to me, my most important thing that I have done when I first went to the General Assembly
Wow.
in 1994, Norfolk State and Virginia State, they were saying that those schools did not have any money.
Wow.
But a fellow by the name from Norfolk State named Melvin Nichols, you might know him. He was saying, "You gotta help us out." And what I did, I went upstairs on something at that time I did not know my first time called appropriation.
Mhm.
Knocked on the door, and they were saying, I said, "Hey, I'm a new delegate, and I'm trying to help Norfolk State and Virginia State." And they were saying, "Well, you go see Billy Robinson." At that time, Billy Robinson was the only black on there. And that time, it was a closed door. The appropriation and finance were closed. You couldn't go in the meetings back in 94 unless you were on a committee. I went downstairs, and Dwight Jones, who's a freshman, say, "What's wrong, Spruill?" And the press was channel 6, 8, and 12. They were doing a story. I said, "Dwight," I went upstairs on something called appropriation. I didn't know what it was at that time.
Mhm.
To help Norfolk State, Virginia State. And I said, that because I said, they said because I was black, I couldn't come in. He said, "What?" And
Wow.
the guy from TV said, "What you say?" And I didn't tell the truth. That wasn't the truth, Robert. That's what I said. Went back upstairs, Robert, and knocked on the door. The guy said, "Did I tell you?" I said, "I know what you said. I can't come in because I'm black." Them doors flew open. And to this day, there are no more closed doors.
Amazing.
You
Oh
see.
my goodness.
And so this, lastly, on the floor, Gilmore ran on no more car tax. You remember that? What happened was that when he got to the General Assembly, you had 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats. There's 100 members in the House, 50-50. And I got on the floor and I said, "When y'all go upstairs and that appropriation, look out for Norfolk State, Virginia State." I said, "How come we never see UVA? How
Mhm.
come we never see William and Murray, Virginia Tech, never come and ask for money? But
Wow.
these schools, why?" And Gilmore called me to his office. He said, "I heard your speech, young man." He said, "But it was not my party." He said, "Your party had control of the House, the Senate, and Doug Wilder was governor.
Oh.
They have fixed it for Norfolk State, Virginia State. They need money." What did I run? I said, "You ran on no more contact, no more contacts."
Mm,
He said,
mm, mm.
"Now, it takes 51 votes to be a pass. I need one vote." I said, "You help Norfolk State, Virginia State, I do it." And what happened was this. He said, "I do it." I went downstairs and told my caucus. They said, "Young man, if you do that, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it." I said, "No." He said, "Y'all had a chance to fix it when we were in control."
Mm.
I said, so they said, "Fine." So they had Gerald Jones, Billy Robinson, Kim Evans. All said, "Talk to that crazy young man. Talk to him. Respect the Democrats." I was worrying about Norfolk State, Virginia State. And what happened was we went downstairs, and when the vote was taken, when the speaker called for the vote, 50, 50, the Republicans, they had 50 Republicans voted yes, but no for car tax reduced.
Wow.
49 Democrats. I voted with the Republicans for 51, no more car tax. In return, Norfolk State and Virginia State got all the money they need. In return, I got an honorary doctorate degree from Norfolk State,
Whoa.
the biggest degree from Virginia State. And all because of this, because it was important that we get that money for those schools. And yet, look at the wall. It's in the picture because of that, I was able to help those two schools to get the money. The first big thing I done to help North State, Virginia State get a lot of money. And so with that, I'm on their wall, a doctor's degree from them, you see. And that's what I did. So it started from there. Again, helping folks and not worrying about yourself. That's important.
You know, we're down to the wire. It's June the 5th. You got an election coming up.
Yes.
Let's talk about that election. Let's talk about what's on the ballot.
Let's take an early voting first.
Let's talk about that.
The first early voting bill that was passed, you notice I never say I. That's my no. I don't do that. It's we. But the first bill that was passed for early voting was put in by me. Wow. But it had to be approved by the House and the Senate. And that bill was approved for 12 days. Wow. And then a couple of years later, they changed it from 12 to 45 days, what it is now, early voting, you see. We did that because in some areas of the state, these real long lines. So that's why you got a chance to go early voting in Chesapeake at the registered office in Chesapeake and on Cedar Road and in Portsmouth. You can do it on Cedar Road. Chesapeake, Cedar Road, Portsmouth on Crawford Street, 801 Crawford Street.
Mm-hmm.
So now,
Senator, how is the atmosphere at the early voting down there? How does it feel when you go around the town and campaigning and everybody see that little boy came out of Broadlawn Park and we had two left shoes and he went to Ben Franklin and he couldn't talk, had a speech impediment. How does it feel when you are in front of folks now and they see how life has dealt you a great hand?
They say, hey, you finally done something right. And also, so you know, again, I said, never say I. I put a bill in to change all the elections from May to November.
Wow.
Because we found out across the state, people weren't voting in May.
Yeah.
See, some areas weren't voting in May, you see. It's the waste of money. The registrar, I put it in for them because they were saying that they were wasting money, spending all that money across the whole state and in about a valid turnout. So I put the bill in and we got it approved, not I. Mm-hmm. We got it approved. You see, so it makes me feel good when I do that. Go around to these localities and say, "Hey, early voting is fine. We like it." I'm saying to myself, it was the bill put in by Senator Spruill and the General Assembly approved of it, and that makes me feel good. See,
that was very important because people, you know, some of them work, some of them didn't have those excuses like, "Well, I've got to do this and go to the doctor and I need a pass." You made it so everyone could vote early if they choose to. You and your team. This is what was so marvelous about it. It was something that was needed. It made a difference. And then changing the month that people voted made a big difference as well.
And another thing we done, remember how you wanted to say absentee ballots?
Yes.
Robin and United States, y'all say, hey, we're going on vacation.
Yes.
But that's not a good excuse. You see, you have to say something. Why? You got to say why. Why you go early? You have to say, we did away with that. No excuse. No excuse.
Oh,
go and get it, and that's it. You don't have to tell the truth. You don't have to lie.
You don't have to lie.
Say, well, on election day, I'm gonna break a leg. So I want to vote now.
Well, Senator, do you find out people are using those that wonderful important feature of the election? They're actually using it.
A lot of folks are voting early because no excuse. Say, hey, I don't want to go down to the polls. For example, like Chesapeake, early voting is one place at the registered office in Great Bridge. That's not even in my district.
Wow.
But you can do absentee ballot in your own home and don't have no excuse. I want absentee ballot. I ain't got to tell you why.
Yes.
You see, I don't have to tell you why. And that's it. You see, that's important.
Let's talk about your district. Go ahead, Mr. E.
So what you think about the young men or the folks that are around here now that says, I've been incarcerated and I would love to vote, but because I've been incarcerated, my votes have not been restored. What would you say to them that really need that to have their votes to be their registration, their restorement?
I'm glad you said that. I gave you 5 committees I was on. It was one more. I couldn't remember what it was. You asked me what it is. It's called P&E, Privilege and Election. That's my this. What happens, Ralph Northam, the governor, he started off by saying non-violent, automatic. Then, I'm sorry, that was Bob McDonnell. Bob McDonnell started off with that was non-violent. Then Ralph, then Terry McCullough did 173,000 to allow them to say he believed, and that we believe, that once a person makes the mistakes and do their time, why in the world they got to go through all this process?
Yes.
Been in cost, so what am I going to fill an application for? I've been in prison or in jail for 2, 3, or 10, 20 years. When I'm out, so why can't your rights be restored? And they did that. But this governor wanted to go to a process. His process was for everybody. His process was a 90-day process to look at it.
Yes.
Then they can be concerned. So being chairperson of the Privilege and Election Committee, that come before my committee. And we met, and so I met with the governor. I said, Governor, listen, Bob McDonnell, and Terry McCullough, they made it easy. I said, look at the process. He said, Senator Spruill, he said, but I believe in the process. So first thing we consider doing that to reduce the process from 90 days to 30 days. Okay, that's one thing. And now you're looking at it now, I said, listen, but what about those who are non-violent? If you want to say that those who committed a violent crime go through a process from 90 to 30 days, I can understand that they want to do that. But what about the non-violent? What about the person who committed a felony that didn't hurt nobody? Non-violent. Why can't their rights be restored? The 3 previous governors had it right. This governor changed it for a process. So he agreed to lower the process to 30 days, and he's looking at maybe nonviolent. So being chair of the Privilege and Election Committee, that's what we're doing now. See, remember now, you can put a bill in, and then what I would do is put a bill in to saying that all nonviolent are either those who committed crime. Once they're out, their rights will automatically be restored. I'm going to do that, you see, because when you had 3 governors say yes, 1 Republican and 2 Democrats said yes, this governor says no, the process. I'm not knocking the process, but I think it should be that when a young person, a person make a mistake and do their time to get out, they should have the rights restored automatically to allow them to vote and to take part in the process.
Absolutely.
Senator, one question for you. Because there's a lot of us out there voting, how do you encourage a person when they say my vote don't count? It's no sense to me going down to the polls because my vote don't count anyway. What do you say to a person like that?
Look at all the blacks and some whites who have lost their lives.
Yes.
To give you the right. To give you the right to vote. And that's when I go back to my story about when in South North, when the man said to me, Mr. Spruill, he said, young man, it's not a racial thing. I like being on city council. Y'all don't vote. 1,300. I'll complain about putting on brick sidewalks on the white side of the track, on our side of the tracks, water was going into people's houses. He said, my heart's with you. I feel sorry. You're right. But they want those brick sidewalks. It's not right. But he keep with this right here. But they vote. You want the water? They vote. Guess what? We got a 4-lane highway on Land Avenue, sidewalks and curbs and gutters now. Because we made a difference because we vote. And the main look at the presidential election. If we did not vote, you think we would have ever had a black president? A black
That's right.
president? And first black governor in the state, Doug Wilder. You think we ever had that? You see, so that's why I tell them folks that and say, hey, but forget about them. But look at the folks who died and came and was all the stuff they went through to make sure that we have a right to say to vote. We have a right to live in the same place where you live because the people in power had control. But we get rid of those folks. If you don't do right by us, we're going to vote you out of office. And that's what you did. That's why, because people died to give us the right to have what we have right now.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your district, who you serve, and this election that's coming up on June the 10th.
June the 20th.
June the 20th.
Well, observe right now, a lot of folks ask the question, how is it to put you and the senators together? It was not our doing, okay? It's not what I'm doing, because what happens that every 10 years by law, you have a redistricting. And that's based on population.
Wow.
See, you can't have 3-4 senators in the area that represent 8,000 to 9,000 people. That's all. 10 years, let's go back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, let me take that, although I even had 8 years of it. 10 years ago, Virginia Beach was the largest city in Virginia.
Yes.
And Norfolk was the second largest city in Virginia. Okay?
Yes.
Now, 10 years ago, Virginia Beach Norfolk had Kiggins, Senator Kiggins, Senator Leonard Lewis and Kennedy Alexander and Spruill.
Yes.
Okay, 3. Then Chesapeake had Spruill and John Cosgrove. And Portsmouth had Senator Lucas and a small portion, I believe, was Senator Locke. That was 10 years ago. Now, move forward to now. So what happened was the citizens, mainly from North Virginia, a group called Century 21, I believe. I could be wrong. They were saying they called all of us crooks, Republicans and Democrats, that y'all drew the district to look out for yourself. To be honest with you, they told the truth. Be honest. But saying they would say, hey, that the citizens should have input on joining lines. So a bill was put in to allow the citizens to have input. But to me, they didn't have enough citizens around the state. You have, I think, mainly from North Virginia, but around the whole state, it wasn't enough. What happened was the citizen walked out of the meeting. They stopped meeting because them politicians, the Republicans and the Senate, would not listen. And so when they walked out, we had to do something. So it went to the court. So the court got 2 companies, and they said, hey, draw 100 House seats because you got 100 members in the House, 40 Senate seats, and I think 11 congressional seats, congressional seats. Not based on black, white, male, or female, or party, based on population. Okay, so when they did that, hit the fan. Now, so hit the fan, but oh my goodness, here we go. That now they moved me out of Norfolk, Leonard Lewis out of Norfolk, and Kiggins, because now Norfolk is no longer the second largest city in the state.
Wow.
Guess who it is now? Chesapeake.
Chesapeake.
That's right. See, so Virginia Beach is still the largest, Chesapeake. Now, so before I had 55% Chesapeake and 45% of Norfolk. Now, when they drew the lines, now I got 65% of Chesapeake and 35% of Portsmouth.
Whoa.
And that 35% of Portsmouth is where part of it is where the other senator lives. Okay. Now, but 10 years ago to now, Portsmouth has maybe 92,000 people in the whole city. Okay? And to represent a Senate area, you have to be, as you used to be, around 210 to 220 between that. But remember, the senator in Portsmouth had Portsmouth, Suffolk, Ivor, Ottawa, on the line to make up to 220. They didn't have enough to do 20.
Wow. So
now, we complain to the courts. Why is it you only have 4 blacks in the whole state? How is it you put 2 together? Right? That was our question. They were saying, we said it was not based on color, male, female, Democrats, Republicans. But to answer our question, they said you had 4. And now you have the opportunity to have 6.
Whoa.
So that shut you up right there. What 6? Well, you had Richmond, you had Hampton, you had Norfolk, and you had Chesapeake. Okay, all right. So we had four between 4 blacks. All right. Yeah. So now we say, well, hey, well, where does 5 and 6 come from? Number 5. Right now, you have Ern Rouse and Virginia Beach. The
Mhm.
first time you have a black senator in the state of Virginia Beach.
Whoa.
That's number 5. Well, where's the 6th one? The 6th one is the rest of Portsmouth, Suffolk, Ivor, all right, that St. Luke's had. That's the number 6 that they were talking about.
Oh.
But that part of number 6 is not where the sons of Lucas live. Now she had the right to move to stay in the 17th, which would be number 6. She has the right to stay where she's at and where she is right. She has the right to stay right where she's at and run in the 18th. Because the district itself, it was the 18th anyway, old 18th. So she had the right to stay there. But the majority of the new 18th is in Chesapeake. So she could have moved to 17th if she wanted to. She stay right where she is exactly right. She has the right to stay right where she is and run at 35%, whatever it is, in Portsmouth and in Chesapeake against me. She has the right. And last, take Cliff Hayes. Cliff Hayes lived in Greenboro. He's representing the 77th district. Greenboro. Then when you come across the interstate, he had Georgetown, all of South Norfolk.
Yes.
Westwood, Camelot. But guess what? His new district now, where he live right now, he's no longer in the 77 district. It's changed to the 901.
Wow.
So if he stay in Greenboro, he can't win that because the district now is Greenboro, Gray Bridge, okay, Hickory. And he would have to run against Jay Lethbridge.
Wow.
The majority white. He can't win that. But know what Cliff Hayes doing? He's moving back across from the interstate on this side, back in South Norfolk. In the district he had before, there's a number change. That's all.
Wow.
But not only him, but all across the state. You got members who are moving based on population, not on part of color, population. So if Cliff Hayes had to stay in Greenboro, he had the right, like Louise doing, he had the right to stay right in Greenboro and run against Jay Lethbridge, and he would have lost his shirt because he was Republican. But he moved back over this side.
I want to change it for just a second. And so good evening to all our guests that's tuning in, Mr. Chris Hinton and a host of others, Mr. Mark Howard. Thank you so much for tuning in. And a host of other folks tuning in. Our special guest is none other than Mr. Senator Lionel Spruill, the senator of the, 88th? 18th district. I had it right because you done moved from Norfolk all the way to Chesapeake because you were right here in the Norfolk area. In over about Ward 4, Ward 5, somewhere down there.
No. Mr. E, I want to acknowledge a few others. Geneva Liggins, Jakina Denise, Sharon Gatlin, and Tracy Saunders. Good evening. Thank you so much. If you all have any questions for Senator Lionel Spruill, please put them in the chat. We would love to, ask him a few things. Especially if you're in his district and there's things that you need to know, please join in with this dialogue.
How much time do we have?
We have as much time as you want or need.
No, but because I have a campaign thing at 7, I thought it was half an hour.
Okay,
we got about 15.
Well, this is what you need to do then, Senator. Give us information on the vote, why we need to vote, why they need to vote in your district, and then we can tell you, go ahead, and we'll take it from there.
Just before he go there, tell us, Senator, what are some of the issues that's on the ballot that you're running for?
Okay, some of the issues on the ballot right now. One of the main ones is assault weapons.
Wow.
We got to get rid of those, okay?
Yes.
And everybody's against those assault weapons. But the Democrats, we tried, but we were not able to get the votes. We can get it out of the Senate, but not out of the House. That's important, assault weapons. The other one that I'm really concerned about is education. Right now, every city Every city is short of teachers
Mm.
because they're scared to death. Number one, you don't pay them enough money. It's not combat pay. Okay,
That's right.
they
That's
don't pay
right.
them enough money to do that, and they're concerned about their safety because they saying that there's not enough protection that we allow these kids to go to school.
Absolutely.
Thirdly, is that the guns. Let's look at the guns. One of the members of the radio host asked me that why can't we have that when you purchase the gun that you got to buy some insurance for the gun like you do your car
Yes.
in case if someone get hurt,
Mhm.
then you're responsible for taking care of the needs of that person. Like that, if you drive your car right now and it's your fault, you got insurance because it's your fault. You didn't mean to do it, but it's your fault. You got car insurance to cover the damage for that person's car. So the question was this: why can't you put a bill in to allow that if something happened with the gun to hurt someone, that you got insurance to help cover some of the expenses for that person thing?
Wow.
So I'm putting that bill in. But also across the line, we're concerned with we got to do something about the parents leaving their guns not locked
Yes.
into the homes. Okay.
Yes.
They're not locked up in the homes. And then too, also in your cars, on your car seat, good and well if someone said they can break into it. You see.
Yes.
That's the real thing. And then the second thing, next thing is that that was a bill put in by me, voted on by the General Assembly, that we found out in the nursing home, some nursing home, people are not being treated well. So now we got cameras now.
Yes, absolutely.
I put that bill in, passed by us, not by us. They were saying that he got cameras put in there to look out to make sure that these folks have some protection. And that's it. Because you believe in this day and time, as far as women's rights, because you believe a right to choose. This is 2023.
Yes.
And still have men try to tell women what to do with their bodies.
Yes.
I am pro-choice.
Mhm.
I am pro-choice. And I went to a rally with pro-life. And I have no problem with that. They were saying, you are pro-choice just to get the Democratic vote. I said, wait a minute. I got 15 brothers and sisters. How many you want me to have? I said, Lord, I have 17 nieces and nephews. I think my mother done well. 15, Doc, and 17 nieces and nephews. I say, and I don't even know them all. And that's the truth. Having lunch with the mayor, young lady came to me and say, Uncle Lionel, tell her you my uncle. I did not know who the young lady was. And tell what I did. And then I said, how your mother doing? And once she told me her mother's name, I said, yeah, baby, I'm your uncle. I didn't know she was. I don't know. When my mother passed, we were able to come up with 68 for somewhere. And they'll come right now. People come in, hi, Uncle Lionel. Hi, baby. So even if you call me Uncle Lionel, Yolanda and Ed, I am not going to say I'm not your uncle because I don't know. You see? So I said later, so what did y'all want me to do? I say, it was my mother. She made the choice to have 15.
Yes.
Not mine. I say, I think 15 is enough in my family. You see? So they shut up right there, you see. But myself, I really believe it's up to the female and her family, not politicians for a vote. I am pro-choice, and I think the woman and her family, they should make the decision, not a politician.
Absolutely.
What about people that's on the streets? What about the folks that's homeless and that's on this fentanyl and on these drugs? Is there going to be a bill passed that help combat this, to get folks off the street, to get folks off this fentanyl, to get homeless? I mean, and for veterans, is there anything they're going to do about veterans?
The city of Chesapeake, right next to the hospital, they are building a veterans like they have in Hampton. I don't know what it's called. Right next to the hospital in Chesapeake. And we have found out, according to the sheriff, he said, what happened, Spruill? He said, what happened, that they would walk the street in the nighttime, and some of them would do little misdemeanor stuff just to be put in jail because they were cold, they were hungry, and they take them, get them to the hospital, keep them overnight, They let them go the next day.
Mm.
And we found out that, hey, now we got mental wards coming in the hospitals, and we got in this veterans, we got the veteran hospital right next to Chesapeake General Hospital. So, but it's all across the state.
Yes.
These folks need help. So we are trying to figure out what can we do to get them off the street. And it's not right for a veterans to really be out there of all this time.
Yeah. Yes.
Serve the country, and they got to roam the street. That's not right for them to do that. So,
well, we thank you so much. If there's any information, contact numbers or a website you want people to
call
go.
my office at 757-424-2178. That's my office number, 757-424-2178. I told my committee from DC that we meet at 7 because I thought we would be on for half an hour, so I want to apologize for that. But I thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to be on, to tell the folks of this, that I have a proven record.
Yes.
I am a people's person, and I do not do anything for I do things for the people, not for myself. Thank you so much for allowing me to be allowing me to be on your show.
Thank you, Senator. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Wow. Talking about history, Denise, she said, wow, such history. And Ann Miles is on. Hey, Ann, with a host of others, Mr. E. If you're in the district that Senator Lionel Spruill is talking about, you need to get out there and vote on June the 20th. Did you hear the issues, Mr.
That's
E?
right.
Those issues are very important. Important to women, important to veterans, important to the homeless, important to children. He talked about having, children, helping children get medical care for hearing and speech impediments. These things are important to our families and to our communities. And so getting out and vote on June the 20th is very important. If you're in that district, we need good leaders, and we need people to continue to serve, to help and aid the community.
Ms. Hinton, and you're right. When we begin to look at what our community is going through, and the issues that are out there, that parents are being not careful by leaving guns around the house so that young children and young men and young women, our scientists and our doctors can get a hold of. And AK-757,
Yes.
all those big assault rifles, I don't think that they need all of that. I know for a fact they don't need all of that. And then turn around, Ms. Hinton, and I believe this: if you want to shoot an assault rifle, go join the military.
Yes.
So you can help defend your country, not just have an assault rifle around in the city where innocent people can get hurt with these assault rifles. Another thing that I like that he was saying, Ms. Hinton, is when he was saying about women's rights.
Yes.
Come on now. That day is over for folks trying to control a woman. Women has went through so much turmoil, has been through so many issues in life, and now they should have rule over who they are, and make sound decisions of what they need and what they're going through in life. We got so many folks and, men and so many other folks that want to take advantage of a woman. Now, women done got to the point now that they ain't taking that stuff. No more.
This is the truth.
One of the things I wish that they would talk about is housing for homeless, housing for folks who on with mental illness, or that's on that fentanyl, that's on that crack, that's on that cocaine, that's on that heroin, that's out there in the street. And the choices that they're making, so I wish that they have places that folks could check in, and not just go to jail because it's cold outside. Not just go to jail for this, and this, but to go and because they didn't do a crime, they send them right back out when you turn around. Yeah,
they have programs. Well, they have funding. I put it like that for certain folk when it comes to drugs. Drugs have really overwhelmed our country, but also the white community was, up in arms with the fentanyl and all those drugs in that vein, because it was really, really doing a number on a lot of Caucasian individuals, and so they got themselves up and popping, getting to go, getting themselves where they could talk to senators, they could talk to leaders, and they said, wait a minute, we need to do something about this problem. And so, the money is out there. Who receives it? I don't know of all who is, the recipients, but I do know that it is out there. But just like you're saying, it's a cry for help with
That's
our
right.
gun problems. Do you know the young man, 6 years old, that mom, that shot the teacher? His mother
It's beautiful.
is under arrest,
That's
two
right.
federal charges for being under the influence of a substance, and I believe child neglect. I'm going to
That's right.
research it
That's
to
right.
make sure that's right. But yes, they're bringing her under charges. And I mean, so we have a lot of problems in our community with gun violence, gun control. Um, we have, like you said, women's issues. Our women want to have say over themselves, over their bodies. But see, this is the thing. It all goes back to what we're talking about this evening, and that is getting yourself out and vote. Now,
That's it.
listen to this, Mr.
That's
E.
it.
There was a time when they fought so hard for the right of a woman and abortion that it became law. All of a sudden, did you stop going to the polls? Did you
That's
stop
right.
paying attention to the issues? All of a sudden those rights have been pulled right underneath you. Now you find yourself in the fight again. If
That's
you snooze, you lose. If you don't go out there and get involved in your community, all those things that you believe in can be taken right from under you, right underneath your nose. It could just
that's
be
right.
pulled away just like that. Who would have thought that women would be fighting for the right of abortion and other things in this day and time when the fight was so fierce back in the day? So I encourage I encourage you all, everybody to start looking at the ballot, start
Yeah.
listening to leadership, find out who's running, find out if it's the right person that and the person that you believe in. You better go out there and vote, because if you don't, somebody that you don't believe in or believe in their issues,
Don't walk in
they're
there.
going to be there and they're going to rule. They're going to have the say over what happens. A lot of people talk about Trump and the fact that he, had so many, what do you call, judges. It's just put him right there in place. And now Roe versus Wade is gone, honey.
That's right.
And
That's right.
so you got to be careful. If you snooze, you lose. If you're
That's
not involved, if you're not paying attention to the issues, if you're not going out there to vote, the very things that you believe in can be turned over.
And that's one of the greatest things that you could ever say, Miss Hinton, that folks need to get out there and vote. Vote, 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 vote. We cannot stress it enough. We cannot say it
Mhm.
enough, because there's some issues out there that you may be for. Go to your local
Yes.
senator, go to your local congressman and tell them what are some of the things that, just don't keep it amongst. See, here's what gets me so much, Miss Hinton, about our community. We talk amongst ourselves.
Mhm.
And when we got a voice, we need to take that all that stuff that we're dealing with and take it to our congressmen and take it to our senators. That's
Mhm.
what we're paying them for, to help better our
Yes.
community, to help better the surroundings that we're living in. Not just to be a talk in the barber shop or just talk in the beauty salon or just talk amongst the community and it
Yes.
don't go nowhere. You need to make sure that your voice is being heard, and it's nothing wrong with you going and talking to your senator. You put him there, or somebody put him there, so you got every right that issues in your community, you want your community back, go talk to your senators. Here's one of the things they did, Miss Hinton, around town, you'll see them, is now they got cameras in communities. They got cameras set up there, great green boxes, and folks look at it as if it's a pole light. Well, I want to serve notice on you. They done something now that's going to get crime off the street. The cameras is slowly moving around, and they're looking for objects, looking for people, shooters, and things of that nature. And once it makes a shoot sound, that camera can turn itself around to where in that community, to where that shot came from.
Yes, they are doing all kinds of things.
You got drones floating around. You got everything that ones need. Listen, all you need to do is vote, talk things over, get your community back where you know who your neighbors are. I had a gentleman come to me the other day, Miss Hinton. He was just asking questions, who lives here? And he's been in our community for almost 29 years, in my neighborhood for almost 29 years. And he was asking me, he saw me standing out in my yard after cutting my grass. He said, who lives there? You know what I said to him? Get you a batch of cookies. Go knock on the people's doors and introduce yourself to your community.
I tell you what, people are different in this day and time. They're doing things differently, but technology is definitely here. And I'm telling you, the scripture talked about eyes being everywhere, everywhere, and everywhere. They're going to curb this violence and crime and stuff. You are going to see what's coming in the land, where you're going to be, look, everything you do is going to be watched. And you're not going to be able to get away with crime like that anymore. Your privacy is going to be invaded. It already is, whether you know it or not. And you're tracked. Your phones are tracked. Everything that you everywhere you go, there it is. You're tracked. Apple and all of them got you. Even when you hit something on the internet, it's and you can go to Facebook and they got that thing right there dropped into Facebook saying, yeah, you was at this website. So we're gonna make sure you see the ads because I think you're interested in this or that. But it's just so much going on. We have a big election 2024. It's coming up. I'm hoping that you all pay attention to those that are running, what they believe in, what they're ushering in, because you gotta see what people are gonna have to feed you, to get in your mind with things that they're going to, talk to you about, or, the issues. They're going to bring it in a certain way. Pay attention to who's saying what, who's running. I know that people are more involved, Mr. E, in the 2024 election, but that's the problem right there. Everybody is hyped. They go all out. They're full of energy. And it's like, yes, I'm going out there to vote. You have people going out there by the scores. But the local election, when there are things that concern our community, it's crickets.
That's right.
You don't hardly find anybody at
nobody.
And that's where things can slip in and slip through.
That's right.
Because on the local level, a lot of things, just like Senator Spruill said, the bills, a lot of issues and bills and the small things you think, it don't matter. Those things can be on the ballot, and you need to pay attention so you can find yourself in the right place. Pay attention who's running. Pay attention to when the vote is. Early voting is for your convenience. Absentee voting is like, look, no excuse. You can just say, hey, I need to vote early. Yeah. And it's that easy. And so you need to definitely get involved, stay involved, and make sure you are sharing information with your children, with your family, your church, your community. So we won't let things slip in unaware. And the next thing you know, your rights have been taken. Lamont Ferguson, how are you? Where have you been? It's good to see you up here. So so vote. It's time to vote in those districts. But we have the 2024 election, Mr. E, and that's important. It's going to be a real big thing in
And,
2024.
and you know you're right, Miss Hinton. When you look at the elections, the ballots, look at the team, look at who's running. You got to look at how it is marketed. They can have
Yes.
this person, this person, and that person on the same team.
Yes.
They can be saying, one can be saying one thing, and the other one can be saying another, but they're part of the team. Just like, for example, the women's issue, women's right. There are some folks that talk a good game, may not be on the same team that you want them to be on. You got folks that's talking about women issues that are Republicans. And they might be for women having the rights over their body, but they can be for somebody else. And so it's all a part of the team. Make sure that you look at who's on whose side and who's on whose team, and to make sure they're talking your language. They're talking what you want to hear. Just like, for example, in the city of Chesapeake, right now, city of Chesapeake has no more recycling program. Norfolk has a recycling program. In order for you to get your recycling program or recycling done, you have to pay now. It's all a part of your bill. Now, in Norfolk, we have a recycling program where they give you X amount of dollars that goes towards your bills for the recycling program. And also, you got to look at the team. I can't stress it enough. We had a song that we used to sing back in the days of the president's time, where we holler, vote, 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 vote the devil out. You got to vote and vote for those folks who's going to be on your side. You got some folks that's on different sides, but they look like us, talk like us, walk like us, but they're not for us.
Yes.
You got folks that walk like a duck, talk like a duck. If they walk like a duck and talk like a duck, then it's a duck. But you got some folks who look like us, but not for us.
Absolutely. Also, like we're saying, pay attention. People are caught up in social media. We are so, things can get our attention, and it can keep us away from important issues. Don't you know, sometimes those are things that are planned. It's like, we know what would rile up Black people. We know what would rile up, get them all riled up, white people. We know how to rile up the Hispanics. We know how to keep them distracted so we can do what we need to do. And we fall for those things so easily. And the next thing you know, just like with the women's issues, you got something that's going on that you didn't believe in. You believe in women's choice, and you believe, but guess what? It was taken right from under your nose. You know what you was doing at the time. Maybe you were sleeping. Maybe you didn't see what was going on with Trump, and he was, getting all the judges in place that were pro-choice. Maybe you didn't see that. Maybe you were so busy dancing on Instagram and daggone TikTok. Or you were so busy, fighting an issue that was planted that didn't have nothing to do with nothing. You gotta pay attention to what's going on in your world, because it may affect you in some way. It may affect your money, may affect your position, it may affect your race, it may affect your church, it may affect what you wear, what you do. We've got to pay attention. And, we've got to make sure we teach our children too. Social media is, of course, we're on social media now. We're on so many platforms live. But I'm telling you, it could be also something that really is a, distractor, because it will put you it will take you somewhere while all the important stuff is going on. You over here playing over here and doing stuff over here. Folks got you going, and, let me give you an example. People with Jamie Foxx. I just want to take that for an example. Everybody's watching Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is so shrewd. He's slippery. He's like, while you all are over here gossiping, telling all kind of tales and stuff, A whole month. This man is home and he's being rehab. He's not telling you a thing. You're not finding out not one thing about him. Why?
That's right.
Because he don't want you to know.
That's right.
But you so distracted. You so into Jamie. Jamie. Oh, you so busy in everybody's business.
That's right. That's right.
You letting stuff slip right underneath just letting important issues just slip. Because why? You so busy over here in somebody's business and not paying attention to what affects you every day. Now, Mr. Senator Lionel Sproul was here, and he's saying there are so many things: gun violence, gun control, all that stuff. They're discussing that. They're trying to find ways of making things better. Make sure you are in that dialogue.
That's right.
Make sure you're talking to your family. Make sure you're talking to your leaders. Make sure you're paying attention to what's happening. These laws and things can and will affect you.
You know, Miss Hinton, just like what you're saying with a great example of Jamie Foxx, but here's another great example that we had to pay close attention to. That there was a rally going on in in January the 6th, I think it was, up in the Capitol. You know,
Yes.
they was having a rally. They was talking. Then all of a sudden, the Capitol got stormed. Where was the protection? There was none. They didn't know it was going to happen, but it was all secret. Somebody should have been on watch. Somebody should have been there to notice it. And something should have happened when they come on the territory of the Capitol. It's just like our enemies coming on the territory.
Yes.
Russia can get over here anytime. Here's the thing that gets me so much, and I found out that Putin has a yacht over here. It's got several houses over here. That he can leave Russia and come squat down here, and nobody knows that he's in the city.
Well, hopefully they get their eyeballs on him.
They could be planning an attack against the USA, and nobody knows, because guess what? We're not paying attention.
Yeah, we got to get on the ball now.
That's
so
right.
it's very.
Look at that virus that we had. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody knew it. But guess what? A lot of folks was taken out of here because of that virus.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to continue to talk about the vote. We want to thank our very special guest, the Honorable Senator Lionel Sproul Sr. I mean, let me say something about Senator Sproul and what he says about serving. He is a servant. He does serve the people. He will go far and beyond. He didn't know me and my organization from the next one, but he took time to come out to speak in our rallies. We had dinner and a dialogue. He came out. He didn't even know me. Mr. E talked with Mr. Sproul, Mr. Lionel Sproul, and he would come out to events and just support more than one time. When we need him to come on to talk to people about voting and politics and things, he's there. He's always there for us. And, for that reason, we really want to thank him. We want to support him. And we want you all to go out there and vote for good leaders. And, and that's what he's pushing as well.
I want to piggyback on that. And not only that, Ms. Hinton, there's another great leader, Kenny Alexander, who has been at our dinner and a dialogue. You might ask.
In our rallies, yes.
You might ask, what is that? We're doing something in the community. Ms. Hinton has a vision that she wants to do something to help our community to rise above. Don't want to see them going down. If we can help somebody as we travel along the way, then our living is not in vain. Yes. If we can encourage a child, put a smile on somebody's face, help an old lady as she crossed the street, put a biscuit in front of someone that's homeless or hungry, then our living is not in vain. If we can put a smile on a family, a child, one little boy, one little girl, and we do a young men's mentoring program, a young women's mentoring program, where we're imparting things into the young women, the young people, where they can feel comfortable, where they can feel safe, where they can, we can be a mediator or talk to them and find out what's going on to help them to be able to tunnel through some of the obstacles that they're dealing with.
Yes.
That's what FYI is bringing, nothing but the best just for you.
Absolutely. So before we go, we want to mention our sponsors. We don't want you all to forget Beard Gods. Go to www.beardgods.com. That's BEARDGODZ.com. Check it out, men. Father's Day is coming up. And if you want daddy to look good, husband to look good, uncles to look good, because some of them have raised, their nieces, their nephews, and young people as their own. Please, Beard Gods is a wonderful product for men to keep them groomed. There are wonderful hair balms and shampoos, conditioner. Chris Hinton is the owner, and just go and check it out, beardgods.com, and get something for for Father's Day coming up. Also, Crystal Records, you can go to www.crystalrecords.com, and you'll find music from Yolanda Hinton. Also, the book Bullying is right underneath your nose. There's a link that will take you to get the ebook, and also acx.com, where you can get your Audible. If you don't feel like reading it, you can buy the Audible book. You can buy the hard copy by inboxing me, and we would love, love, love for you to, just support what we're doing. We believe in giving back. Crystal Community, giving back to our community, where we mentor and we develop young leaders with young women and men achieving success program. So we would love for you all to really get involved with what we're doing. Follow us on social media. Go to YouTube and go to Cristo Records 1, CRISTO, and just make sure you please, please, please support us and subscribe to our channels. Again, www.cristorecords.com. Also, Young Women and Men Achieving Success Program. You can inbox for information or call 757-287-6792. Beardgods.com. www.beardgods.com. Chris Hinton is the owner. Please go and go and shop and enjoy. Don't forget FYI radio show. Mr. E is in our. We're there in the morning, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30. Mr. E, what are the channels? What are the platforms?
And the channels and the platform that you can come on is WPCE 1400, WGPL 1350, Peace 95.3 FM, and 88.9 Joy, WMVA. And don't forget, you can come on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. These are some of the platforms that you come on. We're on 8 different platforms. We're out there. We're on the World Wide Web that goes all over the world, not just in Iraq and Iran, not in just the 757 or the 252. We're all over the world by going to www.christianbroadcastingcompany.com, and you can hear us all over the world.
Also, you can be a special guest sponsor, intern with our FYI morning show live or our FYI After Dark. Ms. D, how can they do that?
All you have to do is pick up the telephone and give us a call at 757-714-7861, or you can go to Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, or FYI Facebook page, or you can inbox or email us at FYIRadioShowLive@gmail.com.
Now, don't forget to join us on Wednesday. We have Chris Hinton, who is the owner at Beard God.
Yes.
He'll be on. Also on Friday, Mr. E, who is our special guest on What's in Your Closet, Issues Concerning Women, that platform.
We got one of the greatest ladies that, that's into the mental illness. We have on Friday one of one of the great ladies to talk to us about mental illness. That's Dr. Juanita Butler. Dr. Juanita Butler will be our special guest. And guess what? We're going to talk about mental illness. We're going to talk about what's going on with the mind. We're going to talk about what we can do in order for us to resolve some of these issues that we got going on.
Miss Mardell Lewis, how are you? We've been missing you, haven't seen you for a minute, but we're glad to see you up here. Also, next week, don't forget to join us. We have a panel of young ladies, women.
That's all.
Women on our After Dark. It's going to be June the 12th, 6 p.m. on Monday. Don't forget to join us. It's going to be a great dialogue. What women want, what women need, what they want to do, what they want to see. It's going to be all about women on June the 12th.
That's right.
I can't wait. We have some special ladies that's going to be a part of the dialogue, and we will give you that information ahead of time so you can join us with your questions, and just tell your friends that, hey, on next Monday, it's all about the ladies.
It's going to be on and popping. Y'all.
Yes.
And these are some of the things that if men wants to know what's going on, listen, how to do what you got to do. And hey, you don't want to miss this. I cannot stress this enough. And I want to invite you all to listen to us on Monday, the same date as the lady comes on that After Dark show and in our sports talk. Now, you want to know something about how a referee talk? Don't forget to join us. Tony Brothers will be our special guest.
Tony Brothers is a referee official in the NBA.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, when you look at the games, the NBA games, you'll see him. You will see him. He is our special guest on next Monday morning, our live morning show at 9:30. So please join us, please, next week to hear, how he, floats through the NBA as a referee and some of the great experiences he has. So look, it's been wonderful being with you all. Again, we want to thank everybody that has tuned in. So many of you all have tuned in this evening. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 9:30 Wednesday, 9:30 FYI Radio Morning Show. And don't forget to be blessed, stay in tune, and don't forget to pray. We love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. E. And we'll see you on Wednesday. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.
And don't forget, on our Wednesday at FYI, we got Mr. Dante will be our special guest on the 14th. So, hey, you got credit problems? Tune in.
Yes. Have a good evening.
2 up, 2 down.